Hey guys, GameRob here. This is my Ultra Hammer early tutorial. This is a glitch that's used to get the Ultra Hammer much earlier than intended. It's a Japanese exclusive trick, so don't go trying this if you have an English copy. And it can be done as soon as you get a Flurry. It saves about 28 minutes in the current 90% route. This trick is extremely difficult, and it's going to take you time to learn it. You gotta be prepared to spend a decent amount of time on this trick. But once you understand it, it becomes a lot easier, so I'm going to try to help you speed up the process. First things first with this trick. You're going to go into paper mode up here. You're going to walk against the door, and then you're going to walk down to the bottom of the door frame. From here you can unspin, you walk to the left, and then you want to inch towards the door. I use tap jumps, which is just jump and then tap right in the air, until you see the exclamation point. And then from here you're going to do what's called a Flurry super slide. All this means is that to do it you have to press X, and then you have to press A quickly after. I believe you have a 3-frame window. So it's XA, XA. It's faster than you might originally think. If you're failing it, it's likely because you're going too slow. So I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like if you're going too slow. That was not a good one. A successful super slide looks like that. If you notice that I opened the door at the same time as Flurry went to blow air. And then the next part of the trick is probably what people struggle with the most. It's getting onto the seam of the inn. To do this, you have to press X 3 times. You can press it other amounts of times, but I found 3 times to work the best. And you have to press them in a rhythm, which is roughly like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's going to take time to get used to the timing. This is the hardest part of the trick in my opinion. You're just going to have to play around with it. I'm going to try and show you visual cues so that you can tell what you're doing wrong. So, let's get back into position, and let's do the Flurry super slide. One other thing with the X presses, what you have to do is you have to delay by about I'd say like a third of a second. It's just a small amount of time you have to wait before you start the X presses. So this will take getting used to. So first things first, let me just show you what this looks like. If you end up here doing the Flurry super slide and not moving at all, that means that you started the X presses too late. It means you have to start earlier. It doesn't have anything to do with the speed of your mashing, usually. I don't know why that didn't do anything. I'll try to demonstrate what it looks like to go too fast and too slow on the mashing as well. Alright, so here, if you noticed I'm ending up in the corner of the room. If you're ending up here, that means that your mashing was too slow. So you have to, your starting point was probably good, but your mashing itself has to be a little faster. And then if you get popped out of the inn, which I'll try to show, that means that you're going either, you're starting too early or you're mashing too fast, which I'll try to show. Like that. If you get popped out of the inn, this means that you are going too fast, so you have to try and slow down a bit. Very important to note for doing this trick, if you Flurry super slide and fall out of the inn more than 5 times, the game will soft lock when you get the Ultra Hammer. So, if you've fallen out more than 5 times, you have to walk over to this right loading zone and reload this area. That's very important if you're doing it in a run. You have to make sure to keep track of how many times you've fallen out of the inn. Otherwise, you will probably soft lock and cry because you'll have to do it again, which is not fun. So, hopefully that helps you with the timing. It's going to take a lot of practice, but you can do it, I believe. So now let's get onto the seam and I'll explain the next part. Alright, so I'm on the seam now. Most important thing when you get on the seam, don't panic. You do not want to touch the control stick. Don't move, just relax. Alright, so you're on the seam. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go into paper mode. And from here you have to ask yourself a question. Am I on the lower edge? There are two planes on the in. There is a higher plane you can be on, and there is a lower plane you can be on. The lower plane is to the left. You need to be on this lower plane, otherwise the trick will not work. So, from this initial position, I'm going to go into paper mode, and I can see that I'm not on the lower edge. So what you have to do here is you have to tap left very slightly. When you're on the seam, all of your movements have to be extremely tiny. Alright? You're going to have to get used to this. You will fall off this seam many times when you're practicing. It is annoying. But you have to get used to doing extremely small movements. Otherwise, yeah, it just won't work. So, from here, I'm going to tap left. Very small amounts. There we go. Did you see how I fell down? I'm now on the lower edge. And I'll show you what that looks like. When I unspin and I go into paper mode again, you'll notice that you fall down. This is what you're looking for. You want to be falling down every time you go into paper mode. That means you're on the lower edge. So, when you're on the seam, step 1, am I on the lower edge? If no, move slightly to the left in paper mode. I gotta stress that. Do not move when you're unspun. Alright, so step 2, go into paper mode and move down. Do not unspin. You're going to want to move down until the top of Mario's shoe is aligned with the corner of the in. I don't think I have my mouse cursor on, so you'll just have to kind of look. The shoe that is closer to the screen, you want the front of it to be about in line with the corner of the in, the visible corner. So from here, this is far down enough. Once you're far down enough, you can unspin. However, if you are not far down enough and you unspin too early, you will fall out. So, am I on the lower edge? Get onto the lower edge. Move down far enough in paper mode. Once you're here, you can unspin. And from here, what you have to do is you have to move very, very small amounts into the precise correct position, and I will attempt to show you what it looks like. So, what I recommend personally is doing tap jumps to move. This is tapping the jump and then moving very slightly in the air. You can also try to move in paper mode, but I don't like it as much. I find it harder myself, but other people prefer it, so do whatever you feel comfortable with. So we're going to do tap jumps downwards. Just move very slight amounts, take it slow. Alright, so I am in almost the correct position. This might work, actually. By the way, to check your position when you think you have the correct one, I recommend holding X or tapping X to use Flurry. And the visual cue that you're looking for is you want Mario's boot to be below the in. Like, you want it to be basically in the spot it is for me right now. And then what you want to do is you want to look at the line of the wall. If you notice the wall is going through Mario's trousers, you have to look at that line. And the perfect position, in the perfect position, the line goes down, then down right, then down again. It has a squiggle in it when it's in the correct position, right where the gap is currently. So, this position, I think, would work, but it's a little sketchy. Actually, I think this position will work, but I'm going to try to move up a little bit to show you, like, the perfect position. So I'm going to try to tap jump up very slightly. Alright, so here is a perfect position. This is what you're looking for. If you notice, in the middle of Mario's trousers, the line of the wall has a squiggle. It starts going down, and then in the middle of Mario's trousers goes down right, and then it goes down again. This is what you're looking for. If you can see this, and you're in the correct spot, like Mario's shoe is below the in, you're far enough down, the line isn't too thick. Like if you're too far up, the line will be a lot thicker than this. You just want it to be a thin squiggle on the wall. Alright? So when you're in the correct position, this is very important. Go into paper mode. Make sure you are in paper mode when you do this. And then I personally recommend going into the partner menu, which is left on the D-pad. And then you want to buffer right. So what you want to do is you just want to make sure that your control stick is directly right. And once you're satisfied, once you are sure that you're holding straight right, you can unpause, and then you'll be walking along the seam. You can unspin basically right away. Once you get past the initial few steps, you can unspin. Do it whenever you feel safe. So now we're on the seam. So from here, you just walk right. When you get to the bed, there's two ways to do this. You can either jump down right onto the chest, or you can fall down here and then jump right onto the chest. And then what you want to do is you want to walk right, you want to hold right, you won't fall off, and you want to line up Mario like he'll be basically just in front of the headboard of the bed. So just walk right until you're running up against this wall. Then what you're going to do is you're going to move down until Mario's shoes are about at the bottom of the bed where they are now. This is close to the successful position. So from here, you're going to have to, again, move very small amounts. So I prefer tap jumps. So tap jump, tap jump, tap jump. And when you fall is about when the back shoe goes below the bed. So I'm about to fall pretty much. There we go. So now, right, we are on the pedestal where the chest is. So again, don't panic. You can't move very much when you're on here. What you want to do is you want to tap upright. If you just hold upright lightly, you'll walk into this little corner. Do not hold upright all the way. I gotta stress this, because then you can kind of walk backwards in between the house and the pedestal, and it's weird. You don't want to do that. So just tap upright lightly, and you'll be wedged in this corner. And then from here, all you have to do is you have to tap left and press A at the right time. You'll notice when I tap left, you can see the exclamation point of the chest. So you have to just time your A press right when that exclamation is there, basically. So, and I'll make sure you do not hold left too much. Like if you do a running jump, you're just gonna jump off the chest pedestal. So you want to make sure you do a neutral jump. It's left and then A. Do not do left A. So left A, left A, left A, and there you go. That was Ultra Hammer early. You could see that I struggle with it quite a bit in this video. It's not an easy trick. It will take time. Okay, so what you see here actually is a good example of the soft lock. I wasn't counting because it's a tutorial. I don't care if I actually advance after this point. But this is what happens if you load the, if you fall out of the inn too many times. This is what happens. You get soft locked as soon as you get the Ultra Hammer, so make sure you keep a count on that. And I hope this has helped. This trick is very daunting for players when they're trying to learn it. It's extremely difficult. You have to practice it a lot. But hopefully this helped. So again, the steps are Flurry Super Slide, delay a split second, and press X 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Once you're on the seam, ask yourself if you're on the lower edge. If you're not, move left. Then move down far enough so that you're able to unspin. Then inch down into the correct position. And from there, spin, partner menu, buffer right, walk right along the seam, drop down, jump to the chest, jump down, get the hammer. Hopefully that helped. It was a lengthy one, but this trick really isn't too bad once you understand how it works, so hopefully this helped to do that. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you.